Hey guys, I'm Orain Finley from QualityWorks Consulting Group Jamaica, and today I will be showing you how to create multiple users for your EC2 instance on AWS. Okay, so let's get cracking. Okay, so now that we have access to our instance via SSH, let's just go ahead and follow the tutorial. So let's add a user. Sudo add user, and I'll just call my user Orin because that's my name. Okay, and just use sudo su to switch to root privileges so that we can give our user a password. So let's use the command pass wd and the name of our user to say that is the user I want to set a password for, and then it will prompt you to change the password. So I'll just use a pretty crappy password. See, it's telling me my password is a dictionary word, but um, this instance is just for tutorial, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so now I want to add our user to the sudos list, and we do that by running vi sudo. So let's just run that, and we'll get our file open. Now what we want to do is look for the line that says root all equal bracket all bracket space all, and we'll just want to add a similar line because we want our user to have root privileges. Okay, so let's just scroll pretty quick, and okay, there it is. So I'll just press I so that I can insert, and I'll put my username all oops all all okay, so I'll just press escape colon right and quit, and that will save my file. Okay, so those are all the screenshots for what I just did, and that's it. We have successfully created a user, and if for some reason you want to switch to that user, you can just type su and the name of that user, and on your screen you'll see the username at whatever your IP is. Also, if you happen to make a mistake and you want to delete that user, you can run this command right here, sudo user del /rf, just to ensure it deletes everything, and type the name of your user and you would hit enter. However, I do not want to delete my user, so I won't be doing that. And yeah, we'll just head on over to the next section. Okay, so let's just head on over, and here's where we will generate public and private keys for our user. Okay, so let's just go along and follow the instructions. We should run this command to switch over to our user's directory. So let's just cd home and then the name of our user. My user is Orain, and hit enter. Now we'll be running this ssh keygen command to generate keys for our user. So let's just go ahead and do that. ssh/keygen, and this /b means or states the amount of bytes that this file will consist of. So we want it to consist of 4096, and you can learn more about keys online in a separate tutorial. We might just create a tutorial for that, but we'll just be leaving out that for right now because that isn't very important in what we're trying to do. But if your instance has some sensitive data, you definitely want to check that to ensure that it is hard for someone to crack your key, which it is pretty hard. And /f just to specify your user or the file, and /t, which specifies the type. So RSA, and run that command. Oops, I spelled that wrong, so this should be keygen, not gem. Okay, so there we go, creating, and you want to set a passphrase on this. I'll just set a simple one. Okay, and there it is. Your public key has been saved to or in that pub. Oh, by the way, a private key is ended with extension .pem. Public key is ended with extension .pub. So that is something to make note of. We'll just want to create an .ssh directory, and here is where a lot of keys would be stored. Each user has a .ssh folder. However, this is a hidden folder, so it won't be visible if you're using a file explorer, or if you just do an ls. You see, you won't see that, but you can actually go into that .ssh folder because it is there, but it just won't show because it's supposed to be a secret folder. So chmod, and what this command does is just set the permissions on that folder so your user or the owner of that file has full access to that file. So just set that. And if you're checking this out from the tutorial, there is a lovely screenshot of what we just did. Okay, so let's just read the contents of our public key to our folder, a file in our folder that we have just created called authorized keys. So that's what that command is actually doing. So let's just run that command. So let's do a cat rain.pub, and what that little greater than sign does is that it takes the output of the previous command, which is this one that we just typed, and it puts it as an input to the next command. So it is actually taking the output of that command and putting it to this file right here, which we are creating in the process. Authorized keys. I hope that is spelled right. So let's just run that. And also we want to set the permissions on that folder so that the owner can read and write to that folder as well. So let's just do a chmod 600 .ssh/ okay. Okay, so the next instruction is to set the owner to that username and the group owner to EC2 user, because if you're using EC2 user as your root user or as your admin user, then that's what you want to do, because you want EC2 user or whichever user that you're using as your admin to have access to all the other users' files. Okay, so let's do this. Oops. Sudo and my user is arraign ec2 user dot ssh. Okay, and because this is the first time I am running the sudo as arraign, they want to ensure that I am actually arraign, so I'll have to put in my password, and there we go. So sudo crown arraign, and we're just setting this for the file in the SSH folder as well. user.ssh/out. Okay. Oops, I keep misspelling these commands. Bear with me, guys. Okay, so let's move down to the next slide. Okay, and we're getting close. So what we want to do is copy our user file to our admin user, which my admin user is ec2 user. So let's just do a sudo rsync with options avr username /home/ec2 user. Okay, and yes, that was successfully copied. And now we want to change the permissions on that file so that everyone has access to that file. Okay. Okay, guys, so now I want you to open a terminal from your local computer, and what I want you to do is run this command, and this command is actually to copy the key, which is your username.pem, that is your file, to your AWS server. So you'll just want to svp and /i to state the okay, we'll use the key that our private key, the private key for the administrator, and we'll do ec2/user and we'll need our IP. As I said, we can use any one of these: elastic IP, public, or public DNS, and at home/ec2 user / our user that we're trying to create, our user again, and let's just hit enter. Okay, and we got permission denied. So let's just try running this as sudo okay, and that did the trick. Now it was successfully transferred. And again, if you're going through the tutorial, here we have some lovely screenshots stating what we just did. Okay, so now if you check back to your terminal, you'll notice you have a file by the name of your username that you created. Mine is Rain, and what I'll do, I'll just go ahead and change the permissions on that file so that the owner has only read privileges. And to show you that this file is actually working, I'll just SSH into the instance using this file. Okay, so my username is Orin as well, and let's just get my IP. Oh, let me just show you this with the public DNS, just to show you that anyone actually works. And enter. Also, because this is the first time you're using this user, it is going to give you the same fingerprint warning. So let's just click yes, and that user will be prompted with a password, because remember we set a password on the file. So let's just enter that password, because we set a password on the key that we created. So, and there you go, guys. There you have it. We have successfully created key for our user that we created, and this key that you have created, you can now give it to a person that you want to have access to your instance. And here is saying that if you added a password like I did, you will also need to give your user that password as well. So congratulations, you have now successfully learned how to create users for your EC2 instance and connect to your instance via SSH. So again, that is it for this video, guys. I hope you all are having fun. It has been very fun doing these videos, and I just want to say continue learning, continue being enthused about learning, and if you want to learn more, just click on MongoDB to learn about MongoDB, which will be our next video. So have a great day, guys. Coming from Orin Finlay at QualityWorks, and see you in the next video.